Hello and welcome to another episode of Panther Report News. I'm Breana Albizu. We're following a tragic story first broke by WSB-TV and the AJC. Police say Georgia State student Nathan Schiele died in a car crash on January 29th in Cobb County. The crash happened on South Cobb Drive around 8:30 p.m. Smyrna police say 33-year-old Willie Rainey followed too close when he hit Schiele, knocking him off his moped and dragging him 100 feet. Police say the crash happened when the 22-year-old student was taking a test drive with his new helmet on. Authorities rushed Schiele to the hospital where he later died. Rainey could face up to a year in jail and $1,000 fine if convicted. A GoFundMe page is now up if you would like to help the family with funeral expenses. So far, the family raised $970 for the funeral. We, of course, at GSTV give our deepest condolences to the family as they go through this difficult time. We turn to new details regarding the construction for the Cortlandt Street Bridge. As you know, construction started and crews are hard at work while students are finding ways to adjust to these changes. Reporter Wendy Fan has the story.
Students might have a hard time navigating their way under a bridge that's been here for years. Construction is now underway for the well-known Cortlandt Street Bridge.
This bridge was built in 1906. This is an aging structure that really has needed to be rebuilt for a very long time.
GDOT project manager Richard O'Hara said the bridge is deteriorating and needs to be structurally remodeled.
We're doing some advanced construction underneath the bridge before we actually close the road.
On May 7th, the bridge will close and reopen in November.
May 7th is when you'll start to see demolition take place.
Design project manager Mike Nadolski said people will still feel some of the vibrations from the construction, but he and his staff will do everything they can to minimize it.
Impact to students was a big consideration. How to take the impact of construction and minimize it.
He said that construction noise is unavoidable, but he and his staff has constructed some barriers to reduce the noise.
We have fences with screens to get rid of the visual impact. We've actually erected walls that can completely remove the visual of the construction, but also reduce the noise and contain the dust.
Nadolski has placed a map on the wall to help students navigate their way to class. Student Melat Tezura said this construction will cause a lot of traffic because students use the route underneath the bridge to get to their classes.
Majority of students don't know the ins and outs of this college. For myself, I don't. This is my second semester here.
Student Erin Taylor says she has class in the sports arena building and walks through the bridge to get there.
Now I have to go all the way around. I feel like it makes it a little difficult, and you have to obviously take more time before you get to class.
The bridge will transition into a demolished phase on May 7th and expected to be completed in a 6-month time frame. For Panther Report, I'm Wendy Fan.
Georgia State's Financial Aid Office is taking new measures to promote financial literacy. Funds like the retention grant allow students to get the help they need in order to get through school. The Financial Aid Office offers multiple scholarships and grants for those students who need assistance paying for tuition and fees. We mentioned this topic last week, and we now have an update on the Georgia Bookstore. They, of course, offered lower prices for books and GSU apparel. Reporter Kara Nelson spoke with the students about the closing of this well-known store.
The Georgia Bookstore has suddenly closed, leaving many shocked and unhappy. It was a go-to store for many students on the Georgia State's Atlanta campus.
I'm upset. I really liked going there. I felt like I could get more books there. It was a shorter wait time, almost never waited in a line. They would have the books for all my classes that I needed.
The Georgia Bookstore was bought by the university's main store inside the Student Center to merge the two retails. The manager says the sales made by both locations didn't satisfy having two bookstores on the campus.
Honestly, I feel like it's bad for business for the whole GSU if that bookstore is closed, because then we have to get all our books from elsewhere, like the one at the Student Center, and we don't have as many options, so therefore they can raise the prices on something if they really wanted to.
Yeah, like he was saying, I feel like the one over there was more convenient, so now you had to go all over campus to get other books, and it's like a monopoly, so they can control all the prices and stuff. And, we gotta spend more money with them, and we don't have to spend it only with them.
Georgia State's property control is currently cleaning out the store. The manager says it hasn't been decided what will replace the bookstore. With this convenience and inviting atmosphere, students says they're going to miss the bookstore discounted prices the most.
The composition notebook I got from my chem class was $4. I'm like, what? It would not have been the other one like that. So I just feel a little bit upset about that.
After 30-plus years of retail, Georgia State is saying a sad goodbye to the beloved bookstore.
The Georgia Bookstore is officially closed and has no plans for reopening. In Atlanta, I'm Kara Nelson for Panther Report.
With Valentine's Day approaching, many students are looking for love. Well, at least friendships. Black Student Alliance hosted the Black People Meet Speeding Date event Thursday. As you can see, students were able to get their shot at speed dating. A few were successful and others, well, not so much.
I came looking for a friend, a girl. Nah, we ain't going for a wife yet, but we gonna go for a girl right now.
It's Black beauty, Black excellence, and incorporating all of that into this event definitely sets us apart.
Yeah, so fun fact, my freshman year actually attended a speed dating event, and it was an interesting event to say the least. February is nationally known as Black History Month. With that being said, the High Museum of Arts took the time to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy as we approach the 50th anniversary of his assassination. Reporter Sydney Evans has the story.
As we enter Black History Month, we get a chance to look at some of the great achievements our civil rights leaders have left behind. Here at the High Museum of Art, a fire no water could put out gives us an inside look at some of those experiences they encountered, and even some of the experiences today regarding the Black Lives Matter movement.
The High Museum wanted to honor Dr. King's legacy approaching his assassination's 50th anniversary. Erin Nelson, curator of the exhibition, gives us an inside look at its layout.
The exhibition's broken into 3 chapters. There's a timeline that shows the era of his leadership in the South and the major events of the civil rights movement throughout the Southeast and across the country. And then there's a section devoted to 1968 and the year and events around his assassination and memorial service. And the final chapter of the exhibition looks at the ways that his message continued to live on.
This exhibition gives us a clear image of how the history behind civil rights overlaps with fine art.
We're really focused on artwork, the way that photography and art can tell social messages and can record history in its own right.
Some of the more recent photos in the gallery are eerily similar to the older ones taken during the 60s and 70s.
So to see historic protest images and see the visual similarity with images like, for instance, Schiele pre-Bright's photographs of Black Lives Matter protests happening here and across the country today. So there's an image that she took in Buckhead of a protest that looks almost like a sit-in from the 1960s.
If you plan on visiting the High and taking a trip back through time, the exhibition will be here through April 29th. From the High Museum of Art, I'm Sydney Evans for Panther Report.
Thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you next Friday with another episode of Panther Report News. In the meantime, feel free to follow us on Twitter at Panther_Report and subscribe to our YouTube channel at GSTV Panther Report, where you can find many of our stories, such as reporter Michaela Newton's sit-down interview with journalist Roland Martin. That's right, the Roland Martin. I'm Breana Albizu. Have a great weekend.